We've got breaking news out of UNLV. Their quarterback is out. Who is to blame? And what does this actually mean for the future of the sport? We taped with Matt Leinart before this breaking news. We're going to talk to him about all the different contenders and some other fun stuff as well. He has a new podcast out, and we've got life advice. Are things getting better or are they getting worse? I think about this often. I don't know why. Maybe it's because this is what I'm in. So, again, constantly monitoring. I do think about this a lot, though, because I'll see so many, I guess, people in content pushing things getting worse. And as somebody that does this for a living, has been doing it a while, I'll look at that approach and go, okay, so when something, and I've said this before, obviously, like if your whole brand is bad thing happens and now I'm going to tell you that the bad thing is bad, I'm not going to be super impressed because I think it's fairly easy, but it is effective because it seems to work. Because sometimes people will look at things and go, you're right, that is bad. I agree with you. And sometimes I'll wonder, like, do you want more bad things to happen to try to prove some kind of point? And then we'll have like a bad things happening off that goes in like opposing directions where whatever your priorities are, if something bad happens, you'll point to that. And then the other person who completely has different priorities will say, well, look what the bad thing that's happening to my priorities are the things that I care about. And then we just, go at it. Fun day, fun times. But the conclusion that I've come to here in, I don't know how many years, last few years, this is not a new thing. It's not a hobby. I don't think I'm going to go back to school. I'm not going to try to teach a course on this because it's all pretty simple to find this stuff. But the conclusion that I've come to, it's not that things are getting worse. It's just that there's a heightened awareness. We are at peak awareness of all things that are happening. So there'll be times I think, okay, I'm seeing this a lot. Does this mean that it's more than before? And then you go back and you look at the numbers over a 10, 20-year period, and you're like, this is kind of unchanged. Yet the temperature of this topic or this issue is cranked up, not because it's happening more often. It's just that the awareness has increased. And I don't even think this can be debated anymore. I'm calling it a theory of awareness, but in reality, I think that's kind of the truth. You want some good numbers? Because there are other people that spend a lot of time, who spend their careers in this, that will argue things have never been better, and they project to get even better. You want some extreme poverty rates in the United States? I got one for you. 1963, 57% of the country. Today, under 15%. 1900, Mexico literacy rate. You ready for that one? Buckle up. 24%. Only 24% of the population of Mexico in 1900 could read or write. Today, it's over 95%. That's good news. I got one for you. The murder rate in Italy in the 1400s. Look out. Lucky to go outside. 70 people per 100,000 citizens. Now that murder rate, 1 person per 100,000. Do it all day. You want to tell me you can find some stuff that's getting worse? No doubt you can do it. But a lot of this stuff, the trend's overwhelmingly positive. One that isn't great, though, didn't realize this. The population projections for Italy. Peak population in 2017 of 60 million people projects to 35 million people in 2099. That's not good news. If I'm wrong, probably won't be around podcasting in 2099. If I am, wait, what? Why the fuck is he talking about this? Well, I have a reason. Because a quarterback at UNLV, Matt Sluka, bounced on his team. Breaking news this morning. So he either quit or he asked for something and they were like, that's not going to work out. I don't know what to believe on any of this. Okay. And he's off the team, or he bounced. I read his quote. I'll share some of that stuff with you. I think this is a very gray area story for almost all of us that are talking about it or have an opinion on it. But his quote was this, quote, I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled, end quote. So, and I know some of you were thinking, hey, didn't he play at Holy Cross? You're going to stick up for a guy. The cross, you're going to stick up for him. I don't know which side to take in this one, because with the information that we have, could it be that he transfers to UNLV, he's told there's going to be a number, and with this NIL free-for-all that we're in, that the promises were not upheld, according to his quote. He could 100% be telling the truth. It would not be the first time we've heard a story about some NIL promises not working out. Or, to be fair to UNLV, potentially on the other side of the story, could you have a quarterback who, got a number, came in, wins a starting job, they're 3-0, they got Fresno State, best start, I believe, for UNLV since 1984, a potential chance at a playoff spot. There's another story that I read this morning that the family grabbed some further representation, and they were like, hey, this NIL thing is kind of a free-for-all. I'd like to maybe revisit that. We're 3-0. I could see that happening. So I'm not going to crush him, certainly, because the possibility exists that he was lied to and somebody didn't step up. But I'm also not going to completely blame UNLV here because I know that I don't know. I remember last season, there was a really good player on a team. And I was talking to that team and I was like, that guy's a stud. And the first thing they said to me, they're like, he won't be here next year. I was like, well, that seems weird. He's really good. I feel like every week with this guy, he and his family, every week. It's like, yeah, it would be nice as a little sweetener. And those are my words, right? But the premise that was explained to me was that whatever number it is, it's a different number, the request to continue. And I was like, all right. And I was a little dubious, somebody just going like, that guy won't be here next year. Guess what? He's not there. And he's still really good. So what happens is you have someone, maybe even my age, right? Sometimes I forget I am older with a number. Other times I don't know if it's a youthful spirit or immaturity or just a vision on things or just trying to be fair. But like, maybe it's my age or maybe it's your dad or somebody who sees this kind of story. He's like, are you kidding me? A quarterback on a 3-0 team looked at his teammates, looked at his head coach and said, I'm out of here. Now, some think because of the NIL that this is the end of football, right? That's not true. We know that. But this story is so gross, right, to the competitive spirit of like what this is all supposed to be about, that maybe some of you or people think, well, what if he was misled? But man, the team is so good. Like, how could you do that to your team? I remember working with Tim Tebow back in the day at ESPN. I have nothing but good things to say about Tebow. I like Tebow, all right? I do believe he kind of walked the way he talked. But when he went on TV and started saying, like, you shouldn't get paid, you shouldn't be compensated, and all that stuff, he got destroyed for it. And he would get crushed even more so now because now it's generally accepted with the NIL. Like, again, thinking about some of the arguments over the years of why kids couldn't get money. I remember I was looking at some of the excerpts in these debates, and I think the NCAA had said, like, at some point, like, these are young men. Like, look how poorly they'll make financial decisions. Like, dude, I have buddies my age that I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I bought a fucking boat. So, who is anyone to tell anyone of value how they're supposed to spend their money? If they want to waste it, who gives a shit? But they should have some. And I'm happy that they now have an avenue to get some of this money. But when this stuff starts to happen with something that is based in tradition, you get a lot of people going up. Here we go. This guy on a 3-0 team, historic potential season for UNLV. He quit on his teammates because of some money. Again, this money is being provided because the NCAA doesn't want to give up any. And they're like, well, let's just let them have the NIL and then everybody else can pay them. And then we'll just get out of the way. The other part with the NIL, which I think is completely, I think there's some really good ones. Some, I don't know all about it, right? There's some collectives that probably do a really good job with this, that care about the brand, care about the school, alums that are involved. There's also a lot of other people out there that once this thing was opened up, and it was opened up without any real preparation, it was like, yeah, okay, now just go ahead and do whatever you want. Even though I think at some point the NCAA tried to say, like, there are still rules, even though when we would talk with Bruce Feldman, he'd be telling us, like, the schools are like, we don't even really know what we're supposed to do here. But when transactions exist, there are going to be people that are going to say, well, if a transaction is happening, that means there's a potential cut somewhere. So I don't think all of the people involved in this world are doing it for the greater good of the student athlete, for the school that they love. They just see a potential earning opportunity, right? So as bad as the headline can be of a quarterback leaving his team could be, I don't think this is going to be the first time, which would then lead us to believe that things will continue to get worse if you believe that. I can think of this as like, all right, if I were a 20-something, if I was the quarterback of a football team, how hard it would be for me to look at my teammates and say, you know what? Even if I was wronged, I'm out of here. I don't know. I don't think it's fair for me to try to do that. Maybe it's age speaking. I don't think it's a sense of duty. And if he did get screwed, there's certainly a line where all of us could look at it and go, all right, well, that's ridiculous, right? Be like, I don't love what he did, but I understand why he did it. Imagine if in the NFL, if you could just, you could go to the GM, you could go to ownership and go, hey, man, quarterbacks were 0 for 5 against me today on attempted throws. You know, the GM's like, yeah, 3 overthrows and you had safety help every time. Whatever. Oh, like corners would be in the transfer portal every single week in the NFL, but they have contracts. It's different. It is not what we are dealing with these agreed upon numbers, and then everybody's supposed to get the money to you. But really, it's not the beginning of the end. It's just the beginning of something different. It's something different that you're going to have to accept that more stories like this will happen, but it doesn't mean the end of college football, right? But the people that want to tell you that it's the end, that are then going back to the thing they care about and pointing out only the bad things, they're just going to keep banging this drum. Like, remember when Hafley left BC to become a coordinator? And then you had Chip Kelly leave UCLA to be the offensive coordinator. Then you had the Kentucky. It was like, look, somebody I like was like, I hope college football is paying attention. Look what's happening. This NIL, the transfer portal, all this stuff. The job is so much tougher. It's a completely different job. Maybe some guys just went to the NFL because it's kind of awesome there too. Here's a guess. My guess is that people will still want to coach in college football because it's an awesome job. It may be harder. It is different, but it's still an awesome job. And 10 years ago, 11 coaches made $4 million or more a year. Now that number is over 50 coaches making $4 million plus. All right. So it's going to happen. Whenever I see the calls happening around me, right? Like, okay, here we go. This is over. Not sustainable. All these different things. Like, this is it. This is over. And like in the moment, when it's happening all the time, you're like, is this really that big of a deal? I remember getting picked up at an airport, NFL City. I'm in the taxi. Taxi driver's like, what's your racket? A lot of times I lie. Oh, I'm inciting. Oh, yeah? How's that? Well, we've got a saying inciting. Each house has 4 sides. So you do the math. It's going pretty well. I'm going to hit that 30% tip button in the middle. That's usually put there to trick people into hitting it. I'm going to hit it with no regrets. That's how well siding's going. I told him the truth. I was like, I work in sports. And he was like, oh, yeah? I stopped watching the NFL because of Kaepernick. I was like, ooh, all right. And my first thought was, okay, well, did you actually like the NFL, or is this like giving up whaling for Lent? And he was like, no, season tickets, 20 years, every Sunday, watch all the road games, favorite thing to do. So I was like, so you are depriving yourself of joy, something you've really been excited about for a really long time, like kind of your makeup. And just because somebody you don't know did something you don't like, and you're just done on the NFL. And he was like, yep, I'm done. Again, it was kind of like the polling of one. Lesser podcast hosts would probably start their newest pod and be like, dude, the NFL's in trouble. I was in a taxi the other day. Fucking look out. But that message was being pushed there for a little while, right? A message that feels similar today with Sluka leaving UNLV. It's like, here we go. Because remember, there was like this weird little ratings dip thing on the chart there. You know what? I don't think we hear about that anymore. And after the new TV deal, I think the NFL's fine. I think they've weathered the Kaepernick ratings dip doubt storm. So I think there's similarities. And I think in the moment, it's easy to just start going, well, this is ridiculous. A quarterback on a college team, whether or not he was lied to, decided to just leave his team when they have a playoff spot on the line. And I would say, yeah, there's a version of this that really sucks. There's a version of this where I would have his back. But, these are not the 2099 Italian population projections we're talking about here. We are talking about a new world that may feel disruptive day to day, but it just means the product and the job is different, and we're all still going to watch. Great time of the year to bring in Matt Leinart from Fox, and he has a new podcast, Throwbacks with Jerry Ferrara. So we're going to talk some college ball with him. What's up, man?
I've joined the podcasting space like you. By the way, we're getting you on NBA season. We're getting you on. We've already talked about it.
Done. I'll come over. Easy commute.
Well, dude, I'm just in my garage right now. You should see my little man cave in here. I've turned it into my work spot. I love it.
Well, it looks like you have good sheetrock. It's finished, so it looks nice.
Dude. God, I look tired too right now. Jesus.
You should be tired. You've been all over the place, but you got a long ways to go.
I know.
Let's talk contenders here. I don't know that we're going to run through every single one, so somebody will feel a little left out. I know you just had Ohio State Marshall, which I had said on Monday, if you watched it, it was like, is this kind of a game here? But the playmakers for Ohio State, like there's 5 different guys that break the game wide open at any point. Strength of schedule is not what you'd expect. I think it's 132, depending on what you look at this morning. It doesn't really matter. They deserve the benefit of the doubt a little bit. What do you see with them?
Dude, they're probably the scariest offense, I think, in college football, like absolutely loaded. And I would say, like, with this strength of schedule, Ole Miss is kind of the same. I think Ole Miss is really, really good. I think they got a shot to win it all. They haven't played anybody, but they've taken care of business. And, early in the season, it's like some of the teams look dominant. Some of them kind of, like, even Georgia almost lost, a couple weeks ago. Dude, Jeremiah Smith is an absolute monster. And I know Chip. Chip was a South Bay guy. And I saw Chip this summer, Chip Kelly, and I asked him, and he goes, dude, Matt, this kid's a top 5 pick right now. If like, I've been in the NFL, I've seen this guy. He's a top 5 pick right now if he left. That's how good. That's how talented he is.
Can I just ask, like, because I've heard it all. We know he was the number 1 overall recruit. And then you would read stuff this summer. I'm like, what is this guy? Like, dude, people were talking about it like it was a religious experience. What is it about somebody who's a freshman that can already be that good at this position? Like, what does he give you that other great receivers maybe don't, that have even been playing?
He's 6'3", 6'4", 205. Like, the physical body's already there. When you're like evaluating receivers, right? Route running, like obviously catching, all that kind of stuff. But you just see, you've been around enough athletes where you just look and you're like, oh, dude, that dude's different. He's just built different. Marvin Harrison Jr. was kind of the same way the last couple of years. We see Ohio State, we're like, dude's just built different. I don't care who his dad is. And Jeremiah Smith's the same. The way he runs, the way he gets out of breaks, the speed, all those things, you're like, damn, dude, like, this kid is the real deal. Then you talk about Judkins, who they got from Ole Miss, who's just a home run hitter. Travion Henderson has always kind of been like that. And I thought, we were talking about on the show last week, we're like, this might be the best Henderson's looked in his career. He's dealt with injuries. Maybe it's because Judkins kind of pushed him a little bit, but like, that team is scary good, Ryan, and their defense is absolutely loaded. Like, I think that might end up being the best defense in college football when it's all said and done. But again, like, they haven't necessarily been tested, but gosh, I don't know, man. Like, you look at the Big Ten, like, I just don't know what team is going to be able to play with them.
Yeah. And Will Howard, a quarterback, he doesn't have to light it up like a Ewers or maybe a Iamaleava because of all these different guys. But I think the looks, he just keeps you honest.
Dude, he's great.
You've seen it, in different spots where it's like, we're going to show you something else here with him and give him some sort of rollout. Go ahead.
He started 27 games at Kansas State. He won a Big 12 championship. He's a big cat, dude. He's like 6'5", like 240, 230, like, but he can run. And I'm just telling you, like, with Chip in this offense and with Chip's history with just quarterback run and all that, like, they haven't even done anything with him yet. Like, to your point, like, he's just kind of like the keys to the Ferrari. Don't mess it up right now. Get better every week. Like, he's going to be a big part of the run game. And as long as he just kind of, and it's different than like what they had last year, and like, McCord was obviously a good player for them, but like, he didn't, he wasn't beating you outside of just like kind of doing his job. Will Howard can kind of give you that, and we haven't seen it yet, but we will see it throughout the conference play, I think.
Can Texas win a national championship with Arch?
With Arch?
Yeah. Ewers is going to come back, but I just based on what you've seen. Because I know, look, I think Sark and the message has been, hey, we're not who we need to be unless Ewers is here. It's obviously a very odd dynamic in that everybody wants to see Arch play, but Ewers has been terrific. He was so good in that Michigan game for a bunch of different reasons, dominant. So when I heard the argument, and then we've watched Arch against lesser competition the last couple of weeks, I'm like, you really don't think you could win with this guy? But granted, they haven't played
here's my
anybody.
thing. Like, I think I'm not sure they can because of actually the schedule is not. It's actually not as terrible as the Georgia or Alabama kind of going through the SEC. But like I looked at the last game, and he just made some freshman mistakes because the pick. I think it was the first series of the game. Quinn Ewers, make no mistake about it. Quinn Ewers will be responsible for them winning a national championship when it's all said. I'm not sure Arch is ready, and maybe he can't get there, but I think that's Quinn's team. I think there's no doubt about it. I think Sark would tell you that too, probably. But Arch, like, dude, we talked about it last week. Like his first game in when Quinn goes down, it's like the legend just the legend began, right? 4 tutties, the 70-yard touchdown scamper, like hitting 21 miles per hour. I'm like, could you have not? I mean, you couldn't have written a better opening like that. I think I tweeted it. I was like, dude, this kid is going to be a god in Austin for the next 2 years. I think he still has a lot of room to grow. To answer your question, do they have the guys around him? Probably. Could they maybe get there? Because Sark is phenomenal, dude. Sark's one of the best in the country, getting those guys ready to play. But this is not a quarterback controversy. This is not a battle. That is Quinn Ewers' team, dude. Like Quinn Ewers is a baller.
Yes, I agree with you. I just was you know how I work. Like the first time I had heard this argument, it's like, well, they can't win a title unless
I said this on the show. You talk about like obviously LeBron is different, but like the James name is royalty. Man, I mean Manning, like it's right up there, dude. Like I know his dad is not Peyton, but like that Manning name and living up to both your uncles and your grandpa and like all of the hype with NIL, just all of this stuff, like dude, that is wild. And he just came out like I don't know if you ever met him. Like I met him last year. We had Texas K-State, and dude, just an awesome kid, man. Like super, like nice and down to earth, and like by the way, big as hell too. Like way bigger in person. Like big old ass, big old legs. Like that dude. I actually Cooper was on our show a couple weeks ago, and Cooper's like tall and skinny. And I'm like, dude, where did he get the ass from, bro? Like he looks nothing like he's built like probably Peyton and Eli. It was funny, man. But he's gonna be a stud.
I remember the first time I saw his high school highlights, and your assumption you go into it, drop back, pat the ball, Manning style, and
right.
and we're off. And then when I started seeing him run, it was just kind of funny to see that first big run a couple of weeks ago, and then everybody that was their real introduction into Arch, and they're like, wait, a Manning, this guy's athletic and he runs around all over the place.
I know, dude.
Here's what I loved about Sark though, because Sark had said regarding the mistakes at the beginning of the game, he goes, I could have given him a couple warm-up throws. And I was going through the throws again. There's a 3rd and 1. He threw it 55 air yards on a 3rd and 1. Okay.
I know.
And I know it's Louisiana Monroe. They had a 3rd and 10. They were backed up at their own 5 yards. He throws another ball 50 air yards. So like Sark is not holding back with him. And maybe it's a bit of a reward for the situation that there's a ton of other schools where he's playing right now. And the fact that everybody seems to be cool about it is its own accomplishment.
Well, dude, yeah, it's like Raiola for Nebraska. It's like they, the first start, they didn't held back. Like some of these kids are so advanced. Arch and look, I was coached by Sark, Kiffin, some of these guys, even Lincoln. Like they are just masters of developing quarterbacks and getting them ready. And Arch has been there in the system for a year. Yeah, but dude, just come out there firing it, dude. Like, no, we're not going to throw a screen. We're not going to throw a hitch. We're going to throw, and then his first picks into triple coverage. Like, just I'm like, what are you doing, bro? But he bounced back, dude. He's going to be great, man. They need Ewers, though. I'm telling you, for that run, if they're going to make a run, they need Quinn.
I just loved it. It was, it's once I learned, hey, when you're at your own 5 or 10 and it's 3rd and 12, maybe a draw or a screen. Like, what's the point?
Don't throw, just hand the ball off.
And they were like, no, we're just dying. All right, let me ask you this then. Because we were talking off air a little bit about Bryce Young and the struggles of Carolina. We've talked to you about your NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have talked about it on off the air. If I don't know if I want to make it about your son, but this actually works because you know how much I love your son, and he's
Yep.
getting ready to get things dialed up here this week.
Hell yeah.
Um, if you were saying, okay, I want my son to go play for this guy because I know he's going to build the right structure. I know he's going to understand the mental component. He's going to know when to push. He's going to know when not to push. Who do you think is like the perfect person in football right now to develop somebody that you care about a little bit more than just another guy on Saturday?
Probably in college.
Yeah. Is it,
It's
you want to give
those
me a
two.
college and a pro one?
It's two. Well, it's two guys. It's Sark and Kiffin. And again, they coach me, but there's not like Lincoln is great. Clearly, I don't know if Cole fits if it's that system and stuff. But Lincoln is great. Lane is. I'm just telling you, man. Like I played for those guys, and they've grown so much as coaches. But as far as how they teach the position, and again, the game has changed since I've played, but I just like you look at the quarterbacks and the way they play, Jackson Dart and now Quinn, like the way they teach the position is just different. And obviously they're offensive minded guys, but the development, the demand, and how they can grow a quarterback, that's who I would want Cole to play for. Because and again, like Cole's raw, like he hasn't played a ton of football. He's uber talented, but like he would need someone like that. And then like in the league, I mean, like the Shanahans, those guys, like I played in that system, like just the way it's just taught differently, man. Like I played in probably 3 or 4 different systems in the NFL. And year 5, I was like, holy shit, dude, like this is how you play the quarterback position. Wow. Like this is how you coach. Like, and that was Kubiak, but that was Shanahan's system. And quarterback
Can you
play.
explain? Can you explain a system to somebody like me that doesn't understand it? Like, can you give me a layman's explanation
So
of like
yeah,
this
so
is what
like
makes it better?
yeah, so it's all about kind of the fit of your QB. So like when Wisenhunt came over, it was what they ran with the Steelers, okay, and it was what they ran with Big Ben, and Big Ben, big physical pocket guy. Obviously, he can move around pretty well, but like a lot of balls thrown downfield, physical run game. It didn't really fit like my style. I didn't have a great arm. I liked I liked boot. I liked throwing on the run. I liked more of the West Coast system, which you know is like get the ball out on time and quick, right? Get the ball. There's always going to be answers to the test, always going to be answers to that. Whereas some of these other systems, it's like just stand back there, be big, and just chuck the ball downfield. Like that just wasn't my style. So when I learned the system with Shanahan, which was a lot more bootleg, which was a lot more time. This is how I could describe it. So in that system, your footwork is tied to your progression every single play. And what I mean by that is when you see a quarterback in the pocket and he takes his drop, and again, it's shotgun now, so it's a little bit different than playing under center. But when you see a quarterback drop back, that first hitch is going to your first read. If it's there, you throw the ball, regardless. I don't care if it's 2 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. You throw it, boom, get out. It's timing, right? Get the ball out quick, whatever. If it's not there, your second hitch goes to your second progression, and so on and so forth. This is the way Kubiak taught, and it seems very pedestrian. But when you tie your feet to your progression, the ball is always getting to the open guy if you're doing it at a high level. Matt Schaub, that's why I played, was really good at it. That's why you see like Garoppolo, you saw all of these guys in the system like just play at a high level because it's timing, it's timing, it's timing. And a lot of other systems aren't necessarily based on timing. They're just like, you got like Josh Allen, you got these big dudes, man, who are really good players, but they're just so physically gifted that they can kind of get away with other things, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
a lot of it is timing. A lot of it is also playing to the strengths of what you are as a quarterback. Like I was not a guy that was going to go down and throw the ball like a deep comeback 25 yards down the field, like and rip it. Like I was going to be like, hey, let's space the ball out. Let's get the ball out fast. And so that's kind of how I learned. But yeah, so that would be kind of the difference, man. Timing is everything in some of these certain systems.
Okay, I think that was a good explanation. I'm always on a constant journey to understand it a little bit more.
It's hard,
Uh,
dude. Now, but by the way, now like RPOs and like, I like Cole. I couldn't even teach an R. I mean, I could teach an RPO. I never did it. I was barely in the shotgun in college. So like, it's just a different game now. It's just more advanced in that. It's actually like Brady said it. Like it's less advanced in what they're putting on a quarterback because it's a lot easier. Like that's why, like, dude, I was looking at this is totally sidebar, but I was looking at like completion percentages. I'm like, dude, these guys are completing 80% of their throws in an NFL game every single week. Like it's like when I was playing, our goal was when I was playing in the NFL, which was what, just 10, 12 years, it was like 64% was like the goal or something. Like, hey, let's get over 60%. And that was great. Now it's like 75. It's bizarre, dude. It's changed so much.
Look, I brought it up on Monday's pod. Darnold's at 68%, and he's 15th
Yeah, but dude,
in the NFL.
That's
He's
Kevin
15th.
O'Connell, dude. I'm telling you, Kevin O'Connell is telling you, dude, these guys and Bryce, obviously, I'm sure you hit Bryce Young in that situation. Like you have a quarterback friendly system, a head coach, an offensive coordinator that knows how to get these guys in the right play and call. And you have just a competent player that, has enough talent, dude. Sam Darnold going to win the MVP if he stays healthy, dude. It's mind boggling, but it was never a question of talent, dude. It was always like, dude, you go to the Jets, like you go to some of these places, like at the time, obviously, you go to some of these places, man, like you're screwed, dude. Especially when you're expected to play early.
I want to talk more about some of the Saturday stuff. So we look at Tennessee going into Norman, and we can look at the final score, but I thought that was fairly one-sided. And whether it's Iamaleava's talent, the front, the running backs, dude, Brew McCoy, who I know is a guy who's actually down the street here and started at SC, like middle linebacker playing receiver. When he doesn't get the catch, he punishes you for even thinking about tackling him. I love him. When you watch Tennessee, you look at them now after the Oklahoma game and go, okay, yeah, if at the end of the year they're holding the trophy up, that's not going to be a surprise.
Dude, so Nico, he's a SoCal kid too. He used to train. Cole's really good, close with his little brother, who just committed. I think he committed to UCLA. And so they go down there and throw with the 3D QB guys. And I watched Nico throw probably 2 summers ago, right when he committed to Tennessee. And I never seen him throw in person. And like, great kid, man, good family, great kid, 6'6", like huge, like bigger than me. Like I look up to him. And Ryan, I swear, dude, I was watching him like, holy, I've seen a couple QBs like in person, whether it was in a game or working out, like, damn, dude, like it's just like one of one. His arm talent, dude, I'm telling you, is ridiculous. Like, and he's smart. So to answer your question, he's a stud. He's going to keep getting better. Now he's going to have a couple games here. Like, look at the numbers. Like he's good, but the talent is there. That running back is really good, Samson.
Yeah.
Their defense is probably the difference from what a couple of years ago when they had that run with Hendon Hooker and he ended up hurting his knee, so they lost a couple games. But like their defense is stacked. I think their schedule shapes up pretty nicely. A couple of these teams in the SEC, like Georgia, dude, I think Georgia might lose 2 games. That's kind of like my hot take. No one's really talking about it, but like, dude, they play all of the teams that are in the top 10 for the SEC. They get them all, and like some of those teams avoid some of the top teams. Tennessee, Josh Heupel, that system, the defense, I'm with you, dude. Like I think that team, and I'm jumping on Ole Miss again, but I think those are 2 teams to keep an eye on, like to make a run.
Yeah, I've loved what I've seen from Jackson Dart. I was a huge fan when he was at SC. I loved his toughness. Like there's an edge to him that's a little different.
Dude,
I went down.
He's swaggy, right, man. He's a great kid.
I went down and watched him in person, put up 1,000 yards, I think, on LSU. And, with Ole Miss, it kind of came back to the defense. But, yeah, I feel like I'm probably giving Ohio State a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt, only because I expect Ohio State to be able to navigate the conference a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, some of these SEC schedules, you're right. Like, you can look at one teams and then another teams and be like, that feels like it's an entirely different experience. I mean, Mississippi State, I know no one cares. They're 1-3. They have Texas, Georgia, A&M, Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss still to go.
Dude,
still to go.
I'm pulling up. So, Georgia's got Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Alabama. And they get Bama this week.
Do you have a lean, Bama, Georgia this week?
What'd you say?
Do you have a lean, Georgia or Bama this week?
Dude, I saw Georgia's favored in this. Like,
yeah, -2.5, I think.
Dude. And Bama's beat them 8 of the last 9 times, I think, or some crazy stat like that. I like Bama, dude. I'm going to dive in a little bit. I like Bama, man. I'm telling you, dude. Like, I think we saw Bama at Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. Georgia, to me, and it showed up on film against Kentucky. And they're a really talented team, man. Like they're very good. But there's no Bowers. There's no Lad McConkey, who is probably super underrated in college football. It's just a little different, man. Like the playmakers are like, they just don't have a dude this year. They lost both running backs. They have Etienne. Yeah, they have Etienne, but they lost both running backs from last year. I don't know, man. Like to me, it's just like Bama's Milroe is a stud, dude. And like, he's getting better. Ryan Williams is an absolute stud. He's kind of like their next Devontae Smith, the young kid, the 17-year-old. He can fly, man. I like Bama, dude. Like I would take Bama plus 2.5 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Georgia, you're absolutely right on the playmaker part of it, because even in the past, when I've thought about the receiver room, like, how many of these guys like does everybody know? And it's like, well, it doesn't really matter because the tight ends have been so good. But I think Nate Frazier, the freshman at running back, is the one that gets me excited.
He's a modern day boy, man. He's a modern day boy.
Yeah, but you're right. When you look at the production, you can tell right away with
they're
him.
young back there. He's young, and but
the receivers, you're not wrong about the receivers. I mean, Pollock even said it.
Yeah, I just don't see. There's just not a guy. There's like, they had Pickens, they had all those running backs for those years. But Bowers was a stud the last 3 years. They don't. They don't have a guy. They don't have a guy. And Carson Beck is really good, but Carson Beck had those guys last year, and it'll be interesting, dude. I like Bama, like I do. But listen, Smart, Kirby's great, man. The defense is freaking good. Like, it'll be a good one.
Let's do a little on Miami and the Heisman favorite right now, Cam Ward.
Do you like him over Hunter?
Well, I have a whole Hunter Heisman segment that I'm going to maybe unveil tomorrow, so I'm not sure I'm going to use it all yet.
Okay.
I would I don't have a vote. I don't have a vote. I think Hunter, it's going to be hard.
I'm going to get you a vote. You want me to get you a vote? I can get you a vote.
If you want to give me a vote, that's fine. I think there was a time where I was going to get a vote, but I wasn't going to, like, the person that was going to give me the vote was like, who would you vote for? And I was like, not him. And then
they said no.
Yeah. I think it was somebody it was almost like a pack was trying to figure out a way to be like, can we get this guy a vote and he'll go our way? And I was like, I'm not voting for him. I would be tempted to vote for Hunter just because I think it's that special. Like, here's part of the segment, and you can steal this for TV because I think it is a good point, is that we become so enamored with the two-way guy basically as a gimmick. And this is going to feel a little anti-Michigan, but like, Charles Woodson deserved the Heisman the year he won it. You can argue for Peyton Manning, whatever. But, he returned punts, and he had, I think, like 30 touches on offense. Remember what Michigan was trying to do with Jabril Peppers? Yep. They were like, yeah, let's get into the Peppers formation. And it was kind of this gimmicky thing of like, can he get a touchdown as a defensive player? Hunter plays both positions the entire game.
He averages 133 snaps a game.
We're desensitized by what he's actually doing, like being the epitome of what a dual threat guy is.
He's literally an elite. Like, we're going to talk about it this weekend, but like, he's elite on both sides of the ball every snap. Like, it's like, he will literally, like, he's a great corner. Like, he will. Right.
It's not just a kick return or let's throw him a pass and then he's out of the game. That's why it's just like,
we get so locked in, because I have a vote. We get so locked in on like the best player on the best team, the quarterback. Every once in a while, like Devontae Smith, like every once in a while, there's like an outlier receiver, maybe a running back. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, he's the best football player in America. Like, I don't think there's a debate for what he does. And if he's not on that team, or even Shador, because Shador's a baller too, like, they single-handedly beat teams. Like, those two players, like, it's unbelievable how bad they are in some other areas, but those two. So like, he's a stud, man. I'm telling you, dude. Like, yeah, it's not a gimmick. Like, he could get. I asked Prime. Prime was on our show last week, and I was like, dude, where does he get drafted at? Like, does he get, like, NFL's a little bit different beast, but Prime made a good point, and maybe you use this. It was like, he's like, Matt, in the NFL, it's a slower game anyway. There's not as many snaps. So Prime thinks he could play both sides in the NFL. I don't know. It's a different beast. You're covering guys like DK Metcalf all game or some of that, and not, but like, it'll be interesting, man. Like, he's a fascinating story, dude. And he's elite in both sides, man.
We're on the same page here. I think there's a lot of voters, and there's so many people that vote for the Heisman where if they have a bad record, they're just not going to be willing to vote for somebody, and I would
Yeah.
because you're right. It is defaulting far too often to best quarterback or the quarterback on the best team when he's not even the best quarterback. Like it's
Right.
the MVP. Like I understand how valuable it is, but like to your kind of like a basketball football point here, if you have two special players on a basketball team, everybody else can stink and you're going to win a bunch of games. In football, it's not supposed to work this way. And what they're
Right.
doing with Shador and Travis, and to get that Baylor win the other night, I have no idea what Baylor was doing on that last play that led to regulation. But Hunter's
If you
making,
have access, dude, if you have access to like film, I don't know if you do, but
I don't.
oh, I'll send you a screen. I'll send you a screen record. If you just watch Shador drop back, this dude is running around every single play.
Every single
Like
play. Yeah.
it's and we watch it, from like the all
I don't need
22
film
copy.
for that. I don't need the all
But like
22 to see that.
if you really watch it and you just watch like the fact that this kid can do what he does, and like Caleb was really good at just maneuvering in the pocket. Shador is almost better in a lot of ways, just because one, like he's a great thrower. He's a pure thrower. Like he's really, really talented throwing the football, just standing back there. But like the amount of times he maneuvers in the pocket and running away and hitting a dude in stride 30 yards downfield on a crossing route, like I would be dead, dude, if I was behind that offensive line. Like I would be dead. And so like again, it goes to the point of like Shador is like you could even throw him in this race because like what he's doing for that team, it's like there's not another player in college football that can do that with the amount of like little time he has to throw, the plays that he made. It's almost like I feel bad for him sometimes. I'm like, dude, like, gosh, man, like this kid is just like, I hope he gets out okay and healthy this season. But both those kids, dude, are just studs. Hunter is a unicorn, man. He's like very few people, if anyone, can do that, like you said, and he's rare.
Right. He gets the PI on the huge play, and then overtime he puts a helmet on
Yeah.
the guy going in for the time. He actually, it's not that he's just out there playing. It's like, okay, so two of the biggest plays, although Shador's throw was incredible because he knew he was going to get crunched on it, stepped up. There's no questioning his toughness. All right, two things before we let you bounce. All right, one's not that serious. This one is serious. So we'll start here. Have you watched Caleb Williams the first 3 weeks? I assume you've seen some of it. How do you feel?
I think look, yeah, I mean, dude, it's been rough. I mean, I think all in all, their offense. There's definitely a learning curve for him. I think you see some of the plays, and this was the whole thing coming in like, hey, you're not gonna be able to make those plays at the next level. You're not gonna be able to make them all the time. I think there's a learning curve for him to be able to have to really kind of sit in a pocket and process and deliver while you're getting hit. Um, I also will say the offense line is awful, dude. Like I'm sorry. Like I've seen enough plays where I'm like, bro, like the tackle just gets whiffed and you have a half a second to throw the ball. Then you're running around and you're making a play. So um, I think, again, system means everything for these young guys. Um, he's got to learn how to play from within the pocket and process, and because you look at college, right? And he's very special, dude. Like he's a great talent, but you look at college, he just got away with all of that. Where you look at someone like Jaden Daniels, a little different system, probably a little more polished throwing the football when you saw him at LSU and what he was able to do. Like he stood in the pocket, like, and that's kind of, I mean, now it's translating over in the NFL. You look at what Jaden Daniels has been able to do so far in a couple of weeks. So, look, I'm not one of those fans who'd be like, oh, he stinks in this. Like, no, he's going to be good. Look, they need some help. They need some help. But I'm a little surprised, dude, because I thought Chicago would be a lot better than they are so far.
One of the many reasons I loved him was I was like, well, even if things aren't right, he found a way to make plays at SC when it felt like he was the only thing they could count on last season. I was like, even better. It doesn't have to be perfect because he's used to everything being a bit of a mess, but it's just moving at a speed with him where
Dude, you just can't. It's just the mess is, there's a lot less of a mess in the NFL, dude. You just can't, like, those guys are too good, man. Like the D
yeah.
linemen are like they're bigger, they're faster, they close the windows. When he's running around making those plays in college, guys are wide open. In the NFL, guys are covered, so you have to throw them open, right? Or everyone, like, you have to like that's just the difference. Like you can't get away with that as much, Like he's gonna dazzle, dude. He's gonna make some plays, but there's a learning curve for him, man. Like there's a learning curve for like most of these rookies.
Final thing, again, Linert's got a new podcast out now, Throwbacks with Jerry Ferrara. Speaking of throwbacks, You made a little bit of noise. You're a big influencer too. There's another lane of Leinart's post-playing career that people need to be aware of.
Are you going jersey? Are you talking about a jersey right now?
Yeah, that's exactly. So your position is what?
Dude, so I got crushed on this. This was where I'm
did.
coming from, okay? There's two
Elitist
things that I would...
athlete?
Huh?
Elitist athlete?
So I have two things, okay? So like I was never, and I will never be the guy that will run up to an athlete or a celebrity and take a picture or get an autograph. I would never do that. Now, for my kid, yes, of course. But like grown man going up that, it's just not what I would do. I would be like, oh, dude, that's Ryen Russillo. Oh, fuck, dude, he's cool, man. Like, but I would just never do that. Nor would I ever wear another guy's jersey. Now I have a Kobe jersey. I rock around the house. Like, it's like my tank and all that. I just wouldn't wear a Shohei Ohtani jersey to a Dodger game. It's just not what I would do. So that's where I was coming from. So I was like, for a grown man to wear another grown man's jersey, I just think it's funny. Now, I got attacked because I was like, oh, well, what about all the fans that wear your jersey? So like, I appreciate the passion of a fan for their team.
But you thought the men were losers.
What?
You thought the men that were doing it were losers?
Oh no, dude. I guess I'm backtracking. Look, at the end of the day, I just would never, like, those are my stances on that. Bro, you're not wearing a jersey to a game.
I wore an LSU jersey during Six Man.
Yeah, Six Man doesn't count.
Yeah, Six Man, you're supposed to dress
Six
like
Man.
an asshole.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear whatever the hell you want. You would never wear I don't even know who your favorite team is, but you wouldn't wear a LeBron James jersey if he was your favorite player to a Laker game.
Good bet, right? I would. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There's a
for
very
whatever
good
reason
chance
you have principle, or you just wouldn't do it.
I own some, but it was almost more of a joke to have around the house to like hand out when I was younger, and I still have them. So if we get you over at the new estate, maybe we'll throw one your way. We can put you in a Mullen.
I'll wear
maybe
one
a Chris Mullen Team USA, which I have.
Oh, dude, that's
maybe July 4th weekend.
That's who I modeled my game after. When you come on throwbacks, we'll rock jerseys, dude.
The funny thing is when Cole asked me for an autograph at pickup when he was 14, I signed for him immediately.
You're so full of shit. He's like, Dad, who's this guy with the ginormous biceps who can't shoot? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I need a rematch between who's his buddy? Jimmy? That guy was insane.
Dude, Jimmy's like 14. Jimmy's 14. He's a freshman.
Tell him to go to St. John's. All right. Great seeing you, man.
You too, man.
We'll come talk to you soon, all right?
All right, brother. Later, Rye.
You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Got a great update here to get things started. Our email address, lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Remember the guy who just recently was telling us about his coworker that won't stop inviting him to do stuff? Well,
yes.
He gave us an update. So just so you guys know, well, he didn't say that, but I'm just sharing with the audience. Garth is in his mid-40s. So if you missed the Garth piece, you're going to need Monday. Today at lunch, Garth invited me to watch USC Penn State. Watch the game in a few weeks. At that moment, I thought of Kyle's advice and decided to pull the trigger. I said, quote, appreciate the invite, but I've got to be honest. I'm not going to be able to hang out after work at all. He said, like ever?
Honestly, valid response.
I said, yes. He sat back in his chair, packed up his lunch, and left 8 to 10 seconds after of awkward silence. I've crossed the Rubicon. Hopefully this doesn't come back to haunt me. It's over.
It probably feels good, though.
Yeah, I think at the very least, he bought himself a ton of time.
I guess we should have asked, is this guy like kind of a wild card? Is he capable of anything? You know, we didn't really, that would have been a good follow-up to know. Like, does he have, any warrants out? Does he have any, does he beat people up? And when he goes, who knows? I don't know. But if he's not a wild card, it's probably just a good relief off your shoulders, right? Like now you don't have to worry about it anymore, even though you feel like a dick.
I could see the only call he gets like a late night poor decision call from this guy and be like, so what is it, man? Just tell me what it is. Like I could see like maybe like a 12:30 or something. But yeah, I think all the awkward, no, not today, is that all stopped. Good for you.
Okay. I just dropped something. All right. We do have an insight into
that.
Garth from someone else in the military. I thought this was a really well-written email, so we're going to share a little feedback here. Just want to provide some input into what I think might be going on with Garth from Monday's Life Advice. My advice is based purely on the fact that he's prior military. He said that Garth was retired from the military, which to me means he did at least 20 years. Well, maybe, I don't know. Might be less than that, but what I'm going to say still stands even if he did less than that. The military is weird in that people who don't necessarily have much, if anything, in common still hang out with each other. Terrific point. You're in close proximity to the people you work with basically all the time. So people end up also hanging out when not at work. The people you work with become like family, even if they kind of suck or really suck. Even the more introverted people would come hang out at some point. He probably feels like his work friends are also his actual friends because he went through a significant portion of his adult life where this was his reality. Whether he was in the Army, Marines, or Air Force being sent overseas for months at a time, or in the Navy living on a ship for months at a time, this is probably just a culture that Garth was accustomed to. I could be way off. Garth could just be a dick. Lots of dicks out there. Lots and lots of dicks. Yep.
It's a good note.
Clip that.
That was his thought. It's a great note, and I love the reasonable, open-ended. Maybe that's not what it is or whatever. But I think maybe you did Garth a favor. But it's tough, man. It's tough out there, guys. Just a little too eager, especially if the other guys are cooler than you. Forget it. I can tell immediately. Like, you're kind of cool, but you're not like us cool. All right. Let's see. We got a bunch of good ones in here. So let's try to get something cooking here. Did we do the young engaged one already? I think we just did that one, didn't we?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell. Okay. All right. I like this one. How to deal with tension between divorced parents. 20 years old, 6', 190, pickup comp, currently Klay Thompson, lost all athletic ability due to, I don't think Klay lost all of his athletic ability, by the way.
He's just a narp now.
Yeah. But can still hit shots from deep. My parents got divorced when I was young, and there was never really any issues. It was clear my mom and dad realized they had to stay friendly in order to give me and my sister as normal life as possible. They both remarried, and I love both my stepmom and stepdad. Before I went to college, my mom passed away. Sorry to hear about that. After the first year, it seemed like everything was going fine. I moved in with my dad over the summer, but would still visit and go back to my hometown on the weekends to see friends and family. This past summer, there seemed to be some tension between my dad and stepdad. Whenever I would stay for an extra day with either side of the family, the other side would make passive-aggressive remarks about not spending enough time with them. My older sister is out of college and lives in a big city, so this problem isn't really one for her. Now that I'm back in college, it's easier to balance the divorced parent life. However, I obviously have to go back for winter break and such. How do I balance what seems to be an ever-growing tension from both sides of my family? I feel like whatever decisions I do make based on where I want to stay for a couple of days pisses off the other side. Thanks, God. Love the pod. Also, Ryan, welcome to the misery that is being a Bears fan. Yeah, sucks so far.
Nice.
Been tough. All right, Kyle, you want to go first on this one?
He's right. He scouted it out perfectly. You got to have thick skin. And my parents are divorced. They've been divorced
old
forever, and they live, I think, like 2. So I mean, it was super normal to me. I was in like this thing called banana splits, where they like pull you out of lunch and put you in this like group with other kids, but all these kids were like new divorced. I was like old poor, old divorced. So
wait, so there was like a support group at your elementary school called the Banana Splits for divorced kids?
Yeah, for divorced kids, but these were all new kids, and I was like, what are you guys crying about? I don't know. It's like, can I go back to lunch?
Are you? Wait,
I have real friends.
Is this a thing?
It was in my school. I brought it up to a couple people. They laugh uncontrollably. Maybe it's the name.
Yeah,
Banana
the
Splits,
name.
but
If anything,
insane.
I doubt it would be called that now. It'd be like Banana Alternative Friendship. right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Right. Yeah, dude. I don't know. It was like it was very confusing to me why everyone was so sad.
this
They
name blows.
just made you hang out with this group of people that you didn't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's so long ago now. I don't remember. I think it was definitely during lunch, and I think I remember like one day, like a guy just coming up and like I think he was like a resource guy or something. He was like, "All right, hey, we got this thing," and I don't know. I don't think I did it the whole year, but I think I somehow got out of it. But I just remember being like, I don't think this is for me. Like I think it's for you guys. But anyway, my whole point is forever it's been this way, and coming home now. Like college was one thing, but now coming home, you know, I'm booking my own flights, and you know, I try to go 3 weeks at a time. And my mom's usually the one. Like my dad lives near all this stuff. My mom's kind of in the sticks a little bit. Both have great houses, pools, like I said last episode. But she's just always just, you know, I try to get there like the first day. Usually I end up spending like probably like 60-40 between my dad and my mom's house in favor of my dad. So I try to get over there like the next day. And as soon as I get there, she's just like, yeah, so what do you think? You'll be here like 3 days for the next 3 weeks or something? I'm like, no, Mom, I'm trying to think. And she's like, no, it's okay. I just get my hopes up and usually end up getting crushed. That's just, you just got to have that roll off your back. And usually, and I'm telling you, it's like actually 60-40, but that extra 20%, she really will magnify, and it hurts her. She's not doing it to be mean. It really hurts. So you just got to get used to, you know, I just come up with a thing to like change the subject or like, oh no, Mom, it's not like that. I just got this. And like, just don't read into it too much. I could tell it's eating you up inside, and I'm not saying I'm impervious to it, but it's just going to be that way. I really don't see a way around it.
Do you split it up 50, like when you go home though? Is it 50-50? Do you try to make it as 50-50 as possible, or is there like
I try, like I said, my dad lives in Poughkeepsie, my mom lives in Pleasant Valley. If those who know, it's a little bit out of the way. You got to go down 44 for 25-30 minutes. There's a lot of construction these days. It can take longer. And she, bad cell service. She's just out there in the sticks, and I love that too. It's two different experiences for me.
Charge the batteries,
she
Poughkeepsie bender, right?
Exactly. You get it. So there's just no way around it. And I just be like, oh, Mom, it's not that way or whatever. Or like, hey, didn't you need me to set up that camera for you or something? Like, I'll just try to change the subject and make the most of the time. That's really all. There's no way around it. I've been trying all angles. Just, she counts the days. And it sounds like you got family that counts the days.
I was just talking to my wife about this because my parents aren't divorced, so I can't like directly relate to that. But I was talking to my wife about how when you,
nice.
it worked out right.
What's it like, Ceruti?
But well, so my parents live in the Cape now, and so they're like almost 3 hours away. And we just had a baby, obviously. And I guess I never fully...
that. She's been around for a little while.
Yeah, she's almost 2. What's up? Next month.
Yeah.
And I guess I never really fully understood, like, when you grew up and you just hear like, oh, family's complicated and like, oh man, the in-laws or, blah, blah, blah. I like never was like, I'm like, what's like, I don't know, I love my family. They're awesome. They're great. And then slowly, I'm like, I'm in my mid 30s now. I'm like, God damn, this is like hitting me like a ton of bricks because, you get the guilt trip of like, when are you coming to visit? Or, why don't you FaceTime us enough and this stuff? And it's like, yeah, I got a busy life. All this stuff's going on. And like, I feel like I never really set proper boundaries to be like, this is what I have to do, guys. Like, I'd love to come hang out with you every weekend, but I can't do that. I'm really busy. And I don't think I've ever like properly set the right boundaries, at least set them straight. I kind of just keep pushing it off and just be like, oh yeah, I'll call you here. I'll call you there. And it's kind of just become a thing, and it adds extra stress to my life. And I'd imagine, when you got two parents who aren't even, who are obviously pulling you from totally different directions, I just think you got to lay the smack down and just say, hey, like, these are the boundaries. Like, these are, I'm an adult. I'm set. I mean, Kyle's up here, like, putting his finger up, so maybe I'm wrong, but I would be like, this is the bandwidth that I have. It isn't about a love thing. It's about what I'm trying to enjoy my life. I have all these other things going on in my life. I love you. I'll see you as much as I can. But this is what I have to give, and this is what I'm giving, and this is my max. And if that's not good enough, then like, I don't know what to tell you. It's a you problem.
The only reason it's a little different in situations is because you live in a house 3 hours away, and this guy is like, I'm going to stay with you from here to then, and I'm going to like, unless he's renting a hotel room, like he's staying with one of them. And I doubt it ever gets to the point where they're like, I'm really doing a nice thing by letting you stay, but there is that little thing in the back. It's like you're also like they're providing you a shelter, and they like you being there, so it's just a little different by saying like, I'll get to you when I can, because you're also like, they've got a room made up for you. And my mom's always like, will you just let me know when you're coming? Because I got to vacuum again. I was like, I was just there 2 days ago. I don't think you need to clean the whole house again, but it definitely is a little ammo to make me feel bad.
I can't stop thinking about the banana splits.
Yeah, I mean, like
every time I bring it up to somebody, they're like, "Wait, can you tell me more?" I was like, "I don't remember that much. I just remember feeling like it was."
I just remember, like, I don't remember.
Those kids needed it though. They were crying at lunch, man.
I was just wonder if like anyone ever lied. Like, my parents got back together. Can I go back to regular lunch?
yeah.
Gen Pop. All right, so here's a couple things. I think you guys are great on it. My experience is a little different. The way that you wrote the email, it almost made me think that you were the oldest, but you told us that you have an older sister who's out of college and living in a city. And for me, I just think you have different instincts being the oldest, middle, youngest. I think it's pretty natural. But you at 20, I think it's important to remember that both your dad and your step parents probably still see you as being younger than 20, even though you're 20 and you're in college and you sound like you have a good head on your shoulders. And it's not necessarily their fault. I think it's like a tough transitional period of thinking like, oh, this guy actually could like make his own decisions, because up until very recently, you weren't really making your own decisions. And you were going back and forth in the traditional sense of like, look, I think some people, once they get a license or whatever the split custody is and all that kind of stuff, it can be different all over the place. So I'm not saying it's the same everywhere, but there's probably an assumption that they can kind of walk over you a little bit, and not necessarily like in a nasty way. They're just assuming that you're like going to go along with the program. And it's great that you all get along enough that everybody seems to want to have you around and you still want to spend time with both sides. But I just remember I was like trying to mediate things all the time in the different stages of the shit that I went through. And I would try, like I would like really try and try to get like one side to listen to the other side, but I was constantly in the middle of it. And it was the best feeling ever once I was like, hey, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not married to either of you. And I don't want to do this anymore. It's fucking pointless. Nobody listens. And, like, it took me longer than being 20, but there'll be some real, like, realized power for you to probably show them a version of you they've never seen before. And you don't have to do it in a way where you're being a dick. But I think it would rattle the cages a bit to your benefit if you just said, hey, guess what? I've got a limited amount of time. I love you to death, and then this message would be related to the other person. I don't need a constant guilt trip of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to balance it all. I want to spend time with it. So let's not make this time let's not add stress to this time of something that can't be solved. Okay. And you got to start looking at me as somebody who, like, it sounds like you're a good kid too, on top of everything else. I mean, unless you're just a fuck up and left those parts out of the email. But you may need to like wake them up a bit to the idea that you're not this 14-year-old that's packing up a sleeping bag and toothbrush and leaving for the weekend all the time. Like, there could be a chance they're still looking at you that way, which I think is a very common parent thing to do. It's not really even their fault. They care. They raised you. They care about you this much, right? I think that transition is probably tough for a lot of parents. But in this case, like, you probably need to speak in a tone that's a little bit more forceful. And it's not combative, but it's just, hey, guess what? It's been going on for a little bit here. I have a limited amount of time. The best way to use this time is for us to have like that stress not added to my plate. I don't want to fucking hear it anymore. All right. You don't have to swear, but like, you get the point. The tone. Show them a tone that maybe is something they haven't experienced before, and it'll wake them up. I would imagine, unless, if their level of intelligence is enough to be receptive to something like that, I think it would be to your benefit, because I certainly wish that when I was younger, getting a phone call, you're in college, like, what's going on? Like, did you know this? And I'm like, well, I got a plant and soil science quiz tomorrow that I'm going to bomb, but thank you for that update. That has nothing to do with my day-to-day while I'm up at school. Like, thanks. Cool. Got it. And that's, it would have been awesome if I had the strength and the knowledge at 18, 19, 26, 30, if I had the ability to go, hey, This isn't my problem. So there you go. All right. What else? God, there was a bunch of, maybe I'm on a different file here or something like that. You guys want to do another dog one?
Oh boy.
No?
When's the last dog one we did?
Well, we did the one about there was just a recent dog one. I forget what it was. Drawing a blank.
think
We just did a
You guys
dog
been
one.
doing shows
Yeah,
without
it was
me?
like the guy had too many
Sure.
dogs, right?
Oh, it was
Yeah.
the neighbor. Remember the
Yeah.
neighbor who were renting and they were assholes.
Who let
with
the dogs out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, yeah. Yeah.
God damn, that was good.
How much did you like that song, Kyle, when it came out?
Oh, God, so
Be
much.
honest.
So much.
Did you ever not ironically order it on TouchTunes?
I don't think I've ever put it on TouchTunes, but
It might.
it's been long enough where I think everyone would be like, "What?"
Yeah,
that's
it's only
great.
Wednesday.
By the way, I'm an AMI guy if I can help it.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I'm a little out of the mix. Okay, yeah, we get a time sensitive dog one here. So let's get to that one. I love when they're time sensitive. Well, it looks like we're still in the window here. Here we go. Terrible writer, so please disregard if the email's choppy. It looks to me bulletproof efficient. So let's go. One of the wives' girlfriends hooked on life advice. Shout out Vermont, Killington area. I spent a year there at the Wobbly Barn one night. 5'10", daily Pilates and running, no basketball comp, big Derek White fan. So, all right, we've got a female listener here. My boyfriend and I have planned a month-long road trip in October, leaving from Vermont and taking a northern loop to California, then southern route home. This is great. I love this. This is something I've wanted to do since high school, camp cross country to see roadside oddities, some national parks, and of course the Hoover Dam. I checked out the Hoover Dam.
I can't think of one friend I would spend a month in a car with. I can't think of one. I got some great friends. We've done a lot of good stuff for each other. I can't think of one person. I just was going through the Rolodex in my head. I'm like, no, I don't even think we'd make the way back.
All right. Quick aside. Media draft of people you could maybe do this with. Month in a car.
I got
Come
nowhere
on,
to be.
Kyle.
I don't know
You're
where
the
to begin.
easiest going human being of all time. There's somebody you could do it with.
Yeah, I guess if they're not my friends, I'm just thinking of my friends and
Let's
all their
talk
bad
it out.
qualities.
Let's work
So-
it
I feel like
Is
feel like
Cannell
Kyle-
off the board? Is Cannell off the board? Like if you
Oh,
were drafting
God,
in your war room and you're putting
my
up 500 prospects and there'd be like another list of 7
You've
guys.
already
you
done
go,
this for like less than that, and it was a disaster. The drive,
San
where were you
Diego
guys
to LA.
driving? Yeah, I mean that's a non-starter. I wasn't even there, and I have PTSD. So yeah, no.
It's too long. It's too
What
long.
about this, Kyle?
When you really break
What
it
about
down?
you and House? I'd watch that television show too.
I'd have to know his stance on cigarettes in the car.
I feel like he's pro cigarette.
I feel like he would let you do it.
It's too
House
long.
is
Yeah.
a great pick because I think House
Yeah, that's a
could
good pick.
really like. I think House adapts in the best way
Mhm.
possible.
That's a good one.
House is good. What about you and me, Ceruti? You think
No.
we'd find a way?
We have different like musical tastes. I feel like just on the ride, just like what's going on in the playlists. I don't know that we would align there. Like I don't, I'm not that like argumentative. I'm not that confrontational, so it'd be fun. I don't think I would like piss you off, but I don't know. I don't think we'd be a good fit unless you disagree. We'd probably just the problem is like whenever we get on the phone, it ends up just being like who do we think is stupid and who sucks, and I couldn't do that for a month. I would be in such a bad mental place if I did that with you. If I hung out with you for a month, because that's like half the time we just get on the phone and vent about shit we don't like.
This doesn't feel great. This doesn't feel great right now. I thought maybe we could do it.
You thought he was going to say maybe?
Well, look,
You thought he was going to defer
I'm
to
trying
you
to
on
think
that?
about all the people. Like, I don't think Stanford Steve litters anymore, so I might be able to pull that off. And I was in a ton of road trips.
That
That
would
was
drive
a
me
ton of
nuts,
road
dude.
trips with him. Like I was with Ceruti's replaced Steve, and like I'll tell Ceruti I talk to you more than anybody else in my life right now, and Ceruti would be like, "Well, my wife is ranked higher than you." And when I asked Stanford Steve that, I was like, "Do you talk to anybody as much as I talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, my wife." And I was like, "Fair, fair."
Yeah.
Would Kyle and I have a better chance than Ceruti and I would? Prior to Ceruti's answer, I thought maybe it was even. Now I feel better about it.
I'd be excited. I'd do it just to see what it's like for you, just because there's, the FaceTime is
that would make
so
up
little,
for these years.
I mean, you don't even have a beer with
I might
Kyle.
not even ask you anymore.
You don't even have a beer with Kyle, let alone.
I tried to.
We've had beers. We've done plenty of live shows.
I tried to twice.
Outside of work things.
I tried to twice in LA. I hit him up. A dive in Koreatown was like, it's on. You were like, dude, I don't stay out this late. I was like, well, I think Kyle is
too. I think Kyle is too. And there's no disrespect. I think Kyle's a little too unstructured for you. Like, I think you would be annoyed by, like, after a.
Kyle, we're not turning off.
Yeah, like I think you'd have like a plan, and you'd want to do maximize as much as possible. And I don't know that would also be Kyle's goal in this trip.
Okay.
Well, what's interesting is we could totally go our separate ways at the stops and then come back and be like, well, how was your 12 hours?
I would need alone time with it, whoever I went. But like, totally. I love Van Pelt.
Right.
No way. And he wouldn't want to do it with me. No chance. Do you think you'd have a better chance with you and Bill Ceruti than me and you?
I don't know Bill. I don't know Bill like well enough. I feel like I know him a little, but I don't know that like I know. I mean, Kyle would know better than I would on that answer.
I think he'd probably just take me off his podcast after. He'd be like, we need to get someone else.
Okay, Kyle.
It's too much. I wouldn't be fired, but I think he'd be like, I just need a
better chance. You and me for a month, or you and Bill for a month?
Me and you.
I think that's the right answer.
True. Yeah.
He's got too many keys. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to get that close.
I think things would really have to be on Bill's terms.
Like we watched Football Sundays, and by the end of the second window, I'm like, I think I'll probably get out of here. And he's like, yeah, all right. So,
because there was a,
and that's not saying anything bad. It's just like, you know what? I think we're all feeling good about this. Maybe we get out of here now.
I think when you're like an elite status for a long time, like I think Van Pelt has it. Like you're used to things kind of morphing to your way.
Yeah.
Specific
right.
specifications.
And like, that's part of the hard work and the reward. But road trip, I don't know. I think you got to be a little bit more malleable. And I think malleability would be the key. So we can't come up with one person that you'd be like, what about me and Van?
That would be fun. But Van, I think, again, Van is like a little bit too much. He's a little too chaotic, I think, for you.
I think you guys like your relationship right now. And I think it would be something else at the end of it. And you might want the beginning thing back.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's true.
I think you like exactly how it is, and you might be like, "Man, I wish we could get back to that place."
I like it.
When you were talking
what about
before,
Chris Ryen?
Chris,
he would go with you.
Yeah, I think that's true. He's
like, "I'm gonna write 10,000 words on this when we get back."
What about Fennessy? It'd be like having a rewatchables in the car with you.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that. Ceruti would just be like, "Yeah."
You could just be like,
one.
"Hey,
Didn't
on demand." It'd be like, "Watch this movie on the iPad while we're in here, and then just tell me what you think, and then the casting choices."
I might be able to do it with my youngest brother.
And there's nobody at ESPN.
It's so long, man.
It's really long.
It goes back to the very
long.
First thing. It's so long. It's so long.
There's no one in the media that you're thinking of right now. You're like, okay, this is a lock.
John Fanta. No way. Sorry.
John.
I love John Fanta.
You and Brian Curtis.
John Fanta.
I think we'd run out of material after a month.
All right.
Yeah, you put your A stuff like on the first leg.
Like we're not even on the highway yet.
Because I think like athletes, no, I mean, like Willie Colon. Love Willie Colon. Great guest. He was awesome the last time he was on the pod. Willie's a lot. Like for a month.
Damian Woody?
Damian. Yeah.
Damian Woody cracks me up.
What about PFT?
I don't know.
I think it would just be so easy.
That seems
not
pretty,
Big Cat, though. I would imagine you couldn't do that with Big Cat.
No, I think Big Cat's Midwestern sensibilities. You'd make it a few exits further than you think. You would.
But he's like an instigator, though. Like I feel like he would just.
I think that would.
Poke the bear
I think
the whole
without
way.
the audience, he'd be less of an instigator.
All right.
Like there would
What
just
about
wouldn't
Chris
be
Long?
anybody. I think it would be so much fun, but I don't know if he'd make it a month. I don't know if he would, because he might just be like, I need something different. You know, I can't do this for the month. All right, whatever. We have an email here we haven't even touched.
Wow,
We get a dog involved.
That's right.
Okay, my boyfriend and I planned the trip. We have one dilemma. We have an 8-year-old, 69-pound lab pit mix named Cash.
Nice.
Cash is the best dog. I'm not being biased since he's ours. Of course not. Dog people wouldn't do that. He's great with people, could care less about other dogs, likes to sleep and listens when told. My boyfriend told me he'd only commit to the month trip if we brought the dog along with us. At first, I was on board, just excited to plan this adventure. Then I thought about how much we'd miss out having the dog with us, such as not being able to leave him alone for long periods, finding dog-friendly hotels and activities, or finding a dog sitter, or having our dog sit in the car basically for a month while we drove around. Obviously, sitting in the car attended to. We don't need the dog people on us. His parents obviously adore the dog. He grew up at their house, and they watch him weekends when we are away for our annual ski trip, which is 2 weeks long. So they watch him on weekends and this annual ski trip that's 2 weeks long. I think even though 4 weeks is a long time knowing he's not in a kennel, but a place he thrives without us, we should leave him with my partner's parents. I just think this trip can be more of an adventure without him and even more carefree. But wanting to make sure my boyfriend is happy if I accept it either way, knowing with or without our dog, we'll have a great trip. Since we both love hearing all three of your opinions, it might help us to make a decision on what to do. Leave the dog is my vote. Anyone else?
I've got 2 dogs.
Parents love that too. If you got a parent like that, like my oldest brother does that.
You have an incredible option.
Get on him a
you
little
have
bit.
an incredible option. Okay.
Yeah.
Now go ahead, Ceruti.
He'll like be like, oh, my dog needs like vet stuff, and he drives down and leaves the dog there for like a month, and my parents take him to the vet. It's a crazy thing. I'm like, come on, you're old enough not to do this, but my parents like it too. So if the partner's parents like it, I think this is a no-brainer. They'll treat him better than you would for that month.
Yeah, I've got 2 dogs. I've taken one of them because this is before we got the second one. We'd go to like a cabin somewhere, like whatever, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and there'd be some land. You bring like it's a dog friendly place. You're not traveling a ton.
You're
driving up there. No, well, we only had one at the time. I don't know that I would do it with both now.
Okay.
But if you're on a road trip,
Okay.
like I'm as big of a dog guy as there is. That's a nightmare. I don't want to do the logistics of all the stuff you said of the dog hotel stuff. You're limiting what your activities are going to be. The eating situation is going to always be a problem. I mean, unless you're just like living, I assume you're in like a truck or a car. It's like not an RV situation.
Well, she said camp, but then she also said hotels. So let's face it, a month on the road, you're going to want a few nights at like some place to really recharge and sleep in a bed and shower and the whole deal. So like, even if you're the hardest core people with all your hyperlight gear, just camping all over the place, there's going to be times where you're going to want to hit that reset and you're going to limit your options. I know plenty of hotels that just let you put down the dog deposit, but like say at 8 years, say something happens, like say somebody gets an infection or something sick and like in the middle of it, you've just got to bail on the entire trip and you're in the Dakotas.
Yeah.
The Dakotas are great, but you're going to turn around.
I think the chances of you turning around definitely rise when you add the dog.
Yeah.
The chances of you not completing this definitely go up if that dog is there. Shout out to Cash.
Yeah. Cash is going to be just fine.
That's the best part of the whole
back.
thing is you have an incredible scenario to leave him behind by people that care. But where you said he even grew up at the parents' place anyway. So, dog's not a purse, man.
Fuck yeah, like that.
Okay, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Oregon and Kyle and Ceruti. And we're going to tape our Mail It In Thursday special for YouTube. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and the podcast. Ryen Russillo, Ringer, Spotify.